Good morning, friends. Today I'm going to be making what I'm calling the double snowflake purse. And I'm going to take and load the design in my embroidery machine and run the first step, which will be the general outline of the purse and the placement lines for the zipper. So let me do that and I'll come right back. Alrighty, I've ran the tack down of the bag, the first step, and here's the area, the placement area for the zipper. And let me get closer so you can see. I'm going to take and place my zipper, center it right between these two lines here, and it should fit just perfectly. And so let me do that and tape it down, and I'll be back and show you what that looks like. Alrighty, I have taped it at the top, at the bottom, and here in the center. And it should hopefully come out just fine. I'm going to run the next step, which will sew it down, and so we'll see how well I did. Well, I'm going to pat myself on the back because it did come out just perfect. Usually one of the lines is right up against the plastic part of the zipper, so I don't know. I just got lucky this time. Anyhow, the next thing we're going to do is turn the hoop over and I'm making the 6x10 bag, of course, and all of my fabric is cut 7x11. I have this lovely template here I use, made by Martelli Notions in Pensacola, Florida. Makes it so easy to cut and have these available when you need them. So I'm going to take this piece of lining, put it right side facing down, and you can see there are 3 lines. This is where a zipper is centered on the other side. I'm going to take, and this is the line that's going to be sewn again. I'm going to put the piece of lining about a 1/4 inch below this line here so it can have enough room to grab onto. So let me do that. Let's see, how's that looking? Okay, that's looking fine. Now let me tape it down. It's fine on the sides, it's fine across, so it should be good. All right, now just let it kind of naturally fall over to the front of the hoop, and we're going to take and grab another piece of tape and just fold it over once and twice, and take this piece of tape, and because we won't need the lining piece for another 4 or 5, probably 4 or 5 different steps we're going to run, so it needs to just stay out of the way. So now it's going to stay hopefully where it's at. Now let's take one of our pieces of front fabric, which is more of this beautiful Christmas fabric. You can see I'm trying to get rid of Christmas, this particular one, even though it's beautiful, and I just have used it in the last, I think, 3 projects. So, but it certainly is a beautiful fabric, and you can take and line this. Now that we see where things are going to stitch, you can just line this piece up with the bottom edge of the zipper, because the stitching will go right over this stitch line here. So let's do that. Okay, that looks good. And let's tape it down. Alrighty, I'm going to take this to the embroidery machine, and it's going to stitch, as I told you, just about a 1/4 inch above the edge of the fabric. So I'll meet you back here in a moment. Alrighty, you can see that it has been stitched right along here perfectly. And then make sure you always turn it over and look. And yes, it is fine here. Just about the right, what I need, about 1/4 of an inch or so. Anyhow, and I wanted to show you, I used to do this and I haven't remembered to do it in a long time, but I took a magic marker and I drew it right up against the frame, the hoop, on all 4 sides, in case something happens and it suddenly falls out or comes loose. I will know where to put it back again. And I have actually had this happen, and I had drawn these, and I put it back exactly where it was meant to be, or where it was at originally, and the project came out perfectly. There was no problem. So I just wanted to show you that little tip. Anyhow, our next thing we're going to do is, I told you I cut everything for a 6x10 bag, 7x11. Well, that's not quite true. This is what I'm using as, I know you're sick of looking at this, I'm sure, if you've looked at my videos, but this is what I'm using as my batting, and I cut this actually 1 inch less this way, so it's still 11 across. I guess it would be 6, let's see, and it's 6 inches, so it's 6x11, because I want it to fit underneath this line of stitching about 1/4 inch down. And all right, that looks good. And so I'm going to take, and on the way over to the embroidery machine, I'm going to, number one, I'm going to pull my main fabric down and smooth it down, make sure it's taut. And I'm going to take it and stop by the iron and give it a press or 2. And then I'm going to the machine, and the next step will run, it'll start down here, run all the way around right underneath the zipper here, or right here along the edge, and end up back here. So that's the next step. Let me go and do that now, and I'll see you in a moment. All right, I ran that stitch that went along the entire, you can see it along the top here and down the sides. And I also ran the next step, which is a placement step for the snowflake, here it is, for the snowflake on this side, which, as I'm looking at it, is on the left side. So it just did a placement stitch right here. And I have cut 2 pieces of this faux leather, 4.5 inches square, which is, well, maybe a little bit big, but I'd rather have enough or more than have too little. So take and put it over, making sure that you've got some out here outside of the stitch line, which we do have at least 1/2 inch, and the same along the bottom. And we got plenty. 4.5 is plenty. You probably get by with 4 inch square, but like I say, I'd rather have more than too little. And so I'm going to take it back to the sewing machine, or the embroidery machine, and it's going to make the same the stitch there, which is going to tack this down. And then I'll be taking it to the kitchen table to sit and trim. So I'll show you what this looks like before I start trimming. So I'll be right back. All right, and the machine did what I said it would do. And so this is now sewn down. So I'm going to take and start right at the edge here and cut just right up against this stitch down like this, and get rid of this piece here. But I'll save it because I'll be able to do something else with it. I hardly ever throw away any of this faux leather. I use them to make these little connectors. Anyhow, let me go and trim that, and I'll be right back and show you what that looks like. All right, now you see I've cut this piece off, so I'll set it aside, and this is what you should have now. See, I just came in from the side, cut right across, so we've got some sticking out over here on this side of the stitch line, and we've got some here on the bottom part of the stitch line, which we want to have. We want to have that, so it'll be held down when get to the final steps, and it'll be sewed into the seam. So we want it to be secure. And I'm going to take and now go over to the embroidery machine, and then it will simply do the satin stitch right along here. And so I'll be back when that's done. Alrighty, now that has taken place. You see the satin stitching. So as in almost all cases of true applique, we have the placement stitch, then the tack down stitch, and then the satin stitching. So those three steps have been done, and we're going to I'll go and do the same thing. Now it's going to do the same 3 steps over here on this side. So have your other piece ready like this, and run those next 3 steps just like we did this 3 steps here. So let me do that, and I'll do that off camera because you've seen it once. I think you understand what's needs to be done. So I'll run that, and I'll be back in a moment. All right, I'm back, and you can see that the same thing has occurred with the second piece of vinyl. We have our places now for the snowflakes to be sewn on, and that's exactly what's going to happen. The next step, we'll sew both of the snowflakes here in the areas, the red areas here. So I'm going to go and let the machine do that, and then I'll be back in just a few moments. All right, you can see the snowflakes have been sewn on, and so I think it's coming together nicely. Now at this point, we just want to finally want to take off the scissors. What in the world am I saying? Take off the piece of tape and let the piece of lining fall back to the back where it should be. But you want to remove these pieces on the side. At least I do that. So just take those off, and I don't bother with that center one. But now roll this down and smooth it down well, and it looks like it fits perfectly. So grab some more tape and tape it right along the bottom on each side. Good Lord, where did scissors come from? Who knows? Anyhow, now I've got it taped down. I'm going to take it to the machine, and it's going to repeat that same step that went right along underneath here, really on the zipper, all the way around, and it's going to secure that back piece of lining, and we're pretty well done, almost another step or two. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. All right, that has taken place. As you can see, it's sewn all the way around through here, and really the purpose of it is to secure this back piece, the lining, which it did perfectly. So anyhow, that's done. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to remove the tape up here in the corner that was initially holding the zipper down, and we want to attempt to open the zipper. My zipper looks weird. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how easy that worked. That's never done that. Okay, now we want to take our, all right, I'm getting ahead of myself. We want to put our little pieces of connectors on, and I'm not happy with the way that looks. That's a little slightly different. So I'm going to redo these, and I'll be right back. All right, I made 2 more of these connectors, and what they are, it's simply a piece of this same vinyl. They're cut at least 3 inches long and 3/4 of an inch wide, and then I stick in the ring between the pieces and then staple them at the top to hold them closed when they're being put in the bag. So I always take and put my connectors in about an inch from, and I just eyeball it, an inch from this side seam. So let's do that. And oh, that's not an inch. Let's see. Yeah, that's probably an inch there. I'm going to have to do this with my both hands. And I'm going to take and put a piece of tape over this right here where my finger's going back and forth, and also tape this down with a small piece of tape too, so it doesn't get somehow wedged up under here in the stitch line. The stitch line will be this area between this line of stitching you can see here and the top of the zipper, so it'll be about midway in between there. So I thought it couldn't happen, but it did happen to me one day, and so I know that I've got to be careful about that. So let me place these, and then I'll be back in a moment. All right, you can see I have those taped down, like I say, about an inch in from each exterior stitch line. And then the next thing is you take your, whatever's going to be your back piece of fabric or vinyl, and put it face down, making sure you cover all sides. Make sure you have enough room here at the bottom covering, which I do, and make sure at the top you have at least a 1/4 inch over the zipper, which I do. And then take your other piece of batting, whatever you're using for batting, and place it over that. And when I put the camera down, I will straighten this out so it's directly over and matching just right over this piece here. So let me do that, and then I'm going to take it to the machine. And let me see, we've opened the zipper, so we're good there. It's going to stitch all the way around the exterior of the bag, up here at the top, on top of the zipper, and that will kind of enclose the bag. So we're almost done. One more step after this. All right, now you can see that this has been sewn down. Well, you can't see it. It's right here where my finger's going, all the way across the top. And I barely got it sewn down on this side, so I didn't do the best job of centering it. But it is what it is. So, as our last step in the sewing process, turn the hoop over and take your last piece of fabric you should have, which would be this other piece of lining, put it face down where right sides are facing together, and put it, make sure that you are you're down. Yes, it's fine. The stitch line is where you see it, and I'm covering it, and I can tell that I'm way over the zipper up here, so that's fine too. Take this and put a piece of tape on all 4 corners. Okay, let me go run this next step. This is the last sewing step. I'll be right back. All right, now you can see that the stitching has taken place all the way around, and it has, I don't know if I said this before. I might have said it was going all the way, but I didn't mean that if I said that. It's left an opening here at the bottom for me to stick my hand in, or you to stick your hand in, so we can turn the bag out through there. So what you need to do now is take this out of the hoop. I can do this with one hand. Let's see. All right. Come on, please. Okay. All righty. Now I'm going to turn it to the back side. I always do the trimming. I'm going to start right here where the stitches start, and about a 1/4 inch around, all the way up here, all the way across the top, down the side, and then ending where the stitches end over here. I can barely see it myself. So a 1/4 inch away outside of the stitch line on this side, on the outer side of the stitch line. So go ahead and do that. When you get to the bottom here, I'm going to cut my fabric here at an angle, like you see my finger pointing, and but I'm not going to cut. Do not cut this off. Just cut to where the stitches stop, right here and right here. So go ahead and do that, and I'll be back in a moment. All right, I have completed that all the way around except for here at the bottom of the bag. Here's my opening. I'm going to turn it through. Now pull this piece back, the shorter piece, and notice where your stitch line is at. Take the longer piece, fold it back, and just take your scissors, and where that little cut is, basically just cut right along through here, right on this side of the stitch line, and just remove this whole area through here. Don't do anything with these. Do not cut these off, but cut the rest of this stuff. It's now just junk. It serves no purpose. So do that cutting, and I'll meet you back in a moment. Okay, I'm back, and you can see I've cut that junk off over here, and it can be thrown away. Let me do that right now. Okay. Oh. All right. Okay. Hopefully that didn't make you dizzy, but anyhow. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take and turn the purse through. Yes, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. My alarm is coming on. I started about 5:15. But turn the purse through this hole here, and I'll do that off camera, and I'll meet you back here in a moment. All right, I'm back here at the ironing board. I have turned the bag out, and what you should be seeing now on both sides is your lining fabric. So I'm going to take and give it a little bit of a press, and then I'm going to take and fold the shadows. Fold this shorter piece in like that, and I'm going to press it. Let me see if it'll stay there while I do that. Okay, pretty much. Well, no, it didn't. Okay, I'm going to take then the longer piece and fold it inside. And when I get both of these pieces folded inside and ironed down so they'll stay on their own, I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, the regular sewing machine, and stitch a line right across the edge here between these 2 points that are open, thereby closing the bag up. So let's do that, and I'll meet you back here in a moment. All right, you can see that I have, this is actually the bottom of the bag is up here. You can see I've sewn a line of stitches through there on both sides, of course. It's closed, and so now I'm going to take, and the last step here that we need to do is take and cut whatever you've used as stabilizer needs to be removed from your zipper area. So I use just paper towels, so it's pretty easy to come off. Excuse me. So I'm going to remove this all along the zipper here and turn my bag out through here, because remember we left the zipper open, thankfully. Hopefully you did, or you're in a mess of trouble. But I'm going to take and do that now, so I'll meet you back here in a moment. All right, I have turned the bag out through the zipper, and here's the finished product. I think it's just beautiful. So you see the double snowflake purse is completed, and I may put on a little tassel on the zipper. Not sure yet, but anyhow, one of the friends that watch this, I call all of you friends, even though I've never met you, but she had requested double snowflakes like this, so I thank her for the inspiration, and I hope you've enjoyed watching me make this bag. It's a very simple but has a great outcome. At least I think so. And hopefully I will be back in a day or two with another design and another tutorial. And thank you once again for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.